Hey guys, welcome. I'm going to give folks a couple seconds here to log in and cozy up.
Yeah. I think I'll mute myself here.
Welcome.
So typical, right? People just coming in and it's at the top of the hour.
Yes.
Yeah, love it.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from today. Welcome. Today's webinar is co-hosted by the New York Oracle User Group and Oracle partner Viscosity North America. We've got Oracle ACE Director Craig Shallahamer here today presenting for us. So I'm excited to see some great questions from all of you. This is a live webinar, so feel free, as always, to submit questions in the Q&A prompt. Please try to keep them out of the chat window. If you need any logistical help during this webinar, throw them in the chat and I'll try to help you when I can. And if you've got questions for Craig specifically, put them in the Q&A. He'll have that up to monitor any questions you guys have, and he'll get to them either during or after the webinar if time allows. So my name is Monica Lee. I'm the marketing director for Viscosity North America, and co-hosting with me is the VP of NYOUG, the New York Oracle User Group, Coleman Leveter. He's going to tell you a little bit about NYOUG, and then I'll tell you a little bit about Viscosity before we get started. So Coleman, it's all yours right now.
Thank you, Monica. Greetings, everybody. The New York Oracle Users Group was formed almost 40 years ago for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of Oracle software products. We're always looking for abstracts. Please go on our website, and there should be an icon in the front of there that says All Abstracts. Click on it. Please submit it. No matter how small or how large you think it is, let's get you on as a presenter. And next slide. Okay, connect with us. Twitter, Meetup, and of course the abstracts again, LinkedIn, Facebook, and our website, nyoug.org. And one more item, thank you, Viscosity North America, for co-hosting these series of webinars. It's going on its third year so far. So we have a very good relationship going on. And I want to thank Craig. Well, we'll introduce Craig in a moment, but I want to thank Craig Shallahamer for contributing his time today for his webinar, which you guys are all going to find very intriguing. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Coleman. Let me get my slides up here. All right, so I'll try to make mine brief because I'm sure a lot of you have heard from me before, but I work for Viscosity, where it is our mission to enable business transformation at a time when companies must change to survive. We are a full Oracle stack consulting firm with a core expertise in Oracle database, including RAC, Oracle Apex, near zero downtime migrations, performance tuning, high availability. We've also got decades of experience with infrastructure, including engineered systems. And we offer project-based services as well as managed services and training. And for the last couple of years, we've been very focused on upgrading our customers to Oracle Database 19c, and we host monthly workshops through orapub.com. Viscosity is built on these three main pillars: data, apps, and infrastructure. And down across the bottom, you'll see we offer a variety of services for all the pillars. So our services included within our proven solutions and professional services include things like assessment health checks or proof of concepts and training. Those are kind of our most common projects. And then on this slide, you'll see all the folks that represent Viscosity worldwide, really. They all present, write all the things throughout the Oracle community as part of the Oracle ACE program. If you're not familiar with that, I would give it a quick Google. It's a great program with great speakers. If you like content like this, you can find many more great folks within that program who also speak within Oracle technologies. And none of them work for Oracle, which is kind of the great part of it. You get to hear really great, unbiased, good content. All right. And here I'm just going to highlight one thing real fast. I always like to point out that we have several people on our team that used to work in Oracle license management for Oracle. And this makes us a partner that people really like to turn to just to make sure they're getting exactly what they need, no more, no less from Oracle, and that they're getting the best rates possible. As a partner, we are able to do that and bargain a little more on your behalf. So definitely go to a partner, whether it's for Viscosity or not, and see what you guys can get as far as Oracle licensing. All right, and these are some of the books, just a very few of them. We've got over 25 books from our management and consultants all across the Oracle category. So we got a lot of books. And for a whole year now, we are super excited to have had Orapub.com powered by Viscosity now. So this is kind of how Craig joined our team. Orapub is now with the Viscosity brand, and we love it. www.orapub.com. I'll send you guys more information. And this webinar you're listening to today will be posted for free on here, where you can go pull the slide deck, many more webinars as well. Of course, you can also go to NYOUG.org for the content too. But look for an email from me afterwards, probably sometime tomorrow, and I'll have more information to access things on Orapub. All righty. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Coleman, who's going to introduce our speaker today. And just a quick reminder for anyone joining us late, yes, it's a live webinar. Yes, you'll get the recording. Yes, you'll get the slide deck, though most of this is, I believe a lot of this is live demo, so you won't have much for slides, but you'll still have everything to rewatch through NYOUG and Viscosity. And please take advantage of your time with Craig and use that Q&A box. All right, Coleman's going to introduce Craig, and
thank you, Monica. So Craig's a co-founder of Orapub Inc., an Oracle ACE director, and now the applied AI scientist at Viscosity North America. He's a longtime Oracle DBA specializing in predictive analytics, machine learning, and Oracle performance tuning. He has over 30 years of experience in consulting, training, and tool development in analytics, machine learning, and Oracle database performance tuning for literally hundreds of companies around the world, including Oracle Corporation. He's been actively involved in several Oracle user groups, including IOUG, NOCOUG, and NYOUG, and has managed conference DBA tracks for several years. He's the author of 2 classic and best-selling books, Oracle Performance Firefighting and Forecast. And again, I just want to thank Viscosity for co-hosting a series of webinars. And Craig, it's a pleasure to have you here, and looking forward to your webinar. Thank you.
All right. Wow. That's been quite a journey, man. All right, let me share. I'm working on sharing my screen here. Hold on. No. Something's not right. No. All right, I'm gonna try it again here. Hold on.
there we go.
There we go. All right. It was off my screen. I couldn't click. All right, so you can see my title slide.
Confession. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. All right. All right. Hey, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I didn't know what to call this thing, really. So I said, well, I came up with this title right here. Actually, the chat bot did not come up with this title. But when the chat bot became kind of live, all right, I immediately started playing with it because, I'm an AI guy, and the core technology that it's built on, which I'm hardly even going to talk about really, is super fascinating. But I haven't gone into that part of AI like yet, right? I did a little bit, but there's so much you can do. There's not enough time in the world to actually learn about all this stuff. but it was super powerful, and it's already like changed my life. All right. And one of the ways it has is in my conference submissions. But I'm going to talk more about that. I'm going to give you some other examples. If you haven't played with the chat bot yet, or chat GPT, it's scary good. And I actually want you to feel that by the end of the webinar today. But really, yeah, it's about the conference, presentation, but it's actually going to be more than that. So, machine learning has all sorts of applications right here. This is like a game. This bot here learned to play Breakout, right? It just learned by trial and error. Anomaly detection. I used what's called reinforcement learning to create this little blackjack cheat sheet. I brought it to Cloud World. I actually made some money. Was it luck? Could have been. We'll find out next year. And, using deep learning neural networks and things like that. This email right here is an example of, like, I got this email because I'm interested in the emails, and there's machine learning basically creates this email right here. So there's all the different applications of this. So, okay, so what is this chat GPT? So I thought, well, I'm just going to ask it. So I said, well, and I'll go through the logon and all that. I said, please explain this in less than 200 characters. There you go. That's pretty darn good, right? It's like asking it about itself, and it was boom. There you go. And that's really what it does. But how that's applied, that's the really cool stuff. And so I'm going to give you a really quickly just a broad example of ways you can actually use this. And I'm hoping that'll kind of like something will go off, and you'll be like, oh, I wonder if I can use it for this. That's what I'm really hoping is going to happen. And then I will drill into some ways you can actually create conference abstracts. At least for the Utah Oracle user groups, we're going to like almost say, hey, if you're having a problem creating your abstract, you need to use this tool to do it. And I'll demonstrate why we're actually going to say that. All right, so my background a little bit, thank you, Coleman. That's every time I've done webinars for you guys, it just brings, there's all these memories that kind of come back. But I started with Oracle technology in 1989. What's interesting is in 1990, I actually wrote a tic-tac-toe program that played itself and learned. And that's actually it's a part of what's now called reinforcement learning, and part of what the chatbot is based on. Which is a reward system. When it gives a good answer, it gets a little pat on the back. When it does not so great of an answer, then it gets a little kind of slap. And it's through a reward system. It just gets better and better. And we kind of drive it to where we want it to go. It's not random. Well, there's randomness, but we drive it where we actually want it to go. Nick. Oh yeah, I was going to mention Nick. It's really good to look through the participants, because I recognize just, a ton of names, and a lot of them for my times when I've actually, been on the East Coast area and done teaching there. And some of the names, it's really good to see, recognize names. It makes me feel good. Anyway, so over the years, most people know me through my Oracle tuning. A smaller subset know me through the forecasting and machine learning type work. And a smaller number know me through my business, how I actually, the OraPub business adventure. And then even fewer know me in terms of my internet marketing, which is I applied a lot of machine learning to OraPub, but I just don't talk about it much. But yeah, a lot of deployments of ML were within OraPub. Yeah, a couple books, a couple classes. In fact, the next month is going to be my AWR class. And then I'm going to go to my machine learning one, which is focused on anomaly detection. Then it'll be ASH, then it will be the machine learning 2 class. So enough about that. My machine learning journey really quickly started in '87, I think, when I discovered Turbo Prolog. Some of you probably actually remember that. And I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. So I wrote that tic-tac program in 1990, because I specifically remember where I was located. So I remember, when I did that. And in '97, I started getting interested in neural networks, and I was able to do a presentation about this at the 2001 Rocky Mountain Oracle User Group. Okay. which is pretty cool. So then I had my forecasting book, same book, 2 different covers, in 2007, which does not have neural networks in it. It's because I could not find a real live working deployment, using that technology at the time. Okay, things have changed a lot. And around, the whole AI got this really, really pumped up and like, yeah, and then and they call it like the AI winter. It just kind of died out. But then all the computing power and the software became available and all the data became available, and it just resurged. And I was super excited, and I am super excited about that because I could not make a living doing forecasting. People always spend their money on fighting fires, not for preventing them. Just the way it is. You can't convince me otherwise of that. So got a couple classes, and this is the big deal. This is taking a lot. This is basically all I do now. I got to get this book out. I'm doing a book on Oracle machine learning for SQL. So there's no Python. It's all, they call it OML for SQL. That's going to be out in 2023. Hopefully it better be out by the time it's summer. So it's all project based. And in fact, I'm creating the projects first. And in fact, the first project right now is being tested with some guys to make sure that they can actually follow my steps. But it's project based, 3 projects, and then before the projects, I'll cover just enough machine learning to complete the projects. So it's really written for like DBAs, people that just have to get a model deployed, but don't want to deal with Python. They don't want to deal with the deeper issues and challenges and the fun actually of machine learning. They just got to get something deployed. So, and it's all going to be on OCI with the autonomous database. So, because that's where OML for SQL lives. Okay. All right. So about viscosity, but I haven't outdated the slide. Monica's got some way cooler looking slides than I do. And I work with some really, really great people. Okay. What's ChatGPT? Well, first of all, what is it? What is this? What does the GPT thing even mean? All right. Generative pre-trained transformer 3, which means there was a 2, right? 3 is like the latest rendition, which it's much larger in terms of what it can, I'll just say, the knowledge that it can actually store. In terms of the number of neurons in the artificial neural network in there is significantly larger. And I forget how much power, but it was like, a city, a whole year of power or something. It was just incredible, the amount of electricity that actually went into doing this thing, which is pretty amazing. And of course, they're arguing about the carbon footprint of all that and stuff like that. But anyways, and you can see the text right there. It was what it does is inside of, and this is really all I'm going to say about the technology. It uses what's called transformers. Okay, and a transformer is a type of machine learning model. It's actually a model of models, and there's a bunch of encoders and decoders. And okay, what's an encoder decoder? Well, you know how you have like an analog to digital converter? There's encoding, decoding going on there, and then you convert it back from digital to actually analog, so we can hear it in our speakers. Okay, encoders, decoders. And it's this capability that allows it to do natural language and translation. I'm going to demonstrate some of the translation for you. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. And I got a broad range of little demos for you on this thing. Right now, it's totally free and you can play with it. Okay. Microsoft was a huge investor in this. So they're going to put this in there in Bing, if they haven't already started, putting some of that in there. As you'll see by some of the examples I'm going to show you, Google better come up with something better, because I'll show you what I did the search, and the search sucked. I just asked the question to the chat bot and boom, I got like a fantastic answer. So, but the company's called OpenAI, and OpenAI is really about helping people learn about machine learning for free all over the world. Now, you might not know this, but OpenAI, you can build all sorts of models really fast using some of their technology. I've done crazy stuff with that I'm starting to do some webinars on that with just a few lines of code, as well as You can learn about how to do certain types of machine learning, like this reinforcement learning, which is based on reward systems. They have like libraries and code and examples. So it's a lot more than just what you might read about. It's fantastic. I think Elon Musk was one of the founders of this because they wanted to get this stuff out there. But they wanted everybody to get access, and it gets all into the whole political stuff then and all of that. But they wanted to get it out there. So I'll just stop with that. Okay, you can read about it. I thought a really good introduction to what GPT is, GPT-3 in particular. There's a nice Wikipedia entry. I actually looked at it this morning. I'm like, that's because I wanted to point you someplace if you wanted to know some more. And of course, there's a bunch of links, so you can actually follow those as well. All right, so that's just kind of just a little bit, and now all the rest is going to be demos. All right, so with that, yeah, and if you got any questions, go ahead and I guess I'm used to people chatting, so it's going to go through the Q&A. I'll be happy to take questions. I'm just learning about this just like everybody else too, so I don't know how much I'm going to be able to help you with. Okay, I need to move. No, we're okay. So, all right, so here is the URL. You just go chat.openai /chat, or in fact, you just go to, in fact, let me just see if I can get it right at the beginning right here. This is what I actually type in, chat.openai. I think you just do that. Okay, yeah, hopefully we're okay with that. And then you'll need to log on. You'll need to sign up for this, okay? They're not asking me to verify, but they have the whole CAPTCHA thing. It's pretty intense CAPTCHA. They want to know who's doing what. And then they'll give you some warnings like, don't type in personal stuff because people are reviewing this all the time. Okay, don't be stupid. That's it. Don't be stupid. All right. They have examples. They will actually tell you how it was created, a little bit of that, which is really interested if you want to dig into that. Okay, so new chat. That's where we're going to be. So I have a series of examples, and then we will actually get to the conference stuff. So let's do some stuff that we all wish we had many, many years ago. So I'm actually going to bring this up a little bit. Okay, I tried to get this nice and big so you can see it. So I'll say, hey, how about solve for X? How about that? All right. So I just pressed enter. That's my little picture up there. And hopefully this goes quick. It should start just going right away, but there's probably 1 million people on this thing. Great. This is all live demo. There's nothing recorded here, guys. So, oh boy, that's going to be slow if it happens. So, all right. So I'll just tell you what's coming up then. We're going to have it solve for X. Then I'm going to ask it to solve it, not doing the way it's going to do, like with the quadratic formula. I'm going to ask it to use linear algebra, and it's going to flip and do it through linear algebra. So there we go. Okay, come on now. Here we go. It'll give us, we're not going to work through the math, of course, right? That's just really slow. Okay. Oh, it did it. Okay. By the way, when you ask the same thing and then you ask it again, it'll probably give you a slightly different answer. Like last time I did this, I got a step-by-step. It kind of just worked through it, which is kind of what's going on right here. Okay. And now I'm just going to say, hey, would you solve this using linear algebra, which is going to be matrices, which I thought it ought to be able to, oh, look at it. It's titling what this is called right now. Which it should be able to do this. So I just said, okay, solve this using linear algebra. And now it's going to kind of flip to using matrices. Sometimes it's a little chatty, literally. It'll explain to you in English how it's actually solving something. It's pretty amazing when you actually do that. All right, so I'm going to get ready for the next one. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to do some simple translation. I'm going to ask it to translate just like a sentence that I just pulled from something I was writing. And I said, I'm going to ask it to translate it into Spanish. Okay. Here we go. By matrix equation. This usually comes back right away. This is actually the slowest it's ever been, which is unfortunate here. There we go. So, is that the truth? Is that really correct? I don't know. And that's one of the problems or the challenges with this type of technology. It doesn't give you a reference. Like, where'd you get that from? Maybe it was from some guy's website that didn't know what the heck he was talking about. Like, I have actually asked it, how do I solve an Oracle cache buffer chain latch contention problem? And it came up with a very detailed explanation, but it was kind of correct, kind of not correct either. But it wouldn't tell me where the source was. Obviously, it was not from my blog post because it would have been correct, hopefully. All right, so that's an example of just solving. So how about what if I want to translate into Spanish? So I'd literally just say translate into Spanish, and usually I put a colon or semicolon. I don't know. It just knows like this is what I'm trying to translate. So just go ahead and it'll do this. And you can give it paragraphs, pages, and it'll just did like any language. I haven't tried Chinese. I don't know if it's going to do the symbols. It probably would if I did that kind of thing. Okay. And so this is something you might have actually heard about or seen, but what I'm going to ask it next is I'm going to ask it to translate like a basic SQL statement into Python code. And there we go. I've actually done some of this before. There we go. So if you speak Spanish, hopefully this is actually correct. And I could then say translate into French, and it would assume I'm talking about what I just asked for, and it'll just do a really nice translation. So now this is actually powerful right here, especially when you're learning a new computer language. But the code it generates, let me just do this. The code it generates doesn't always work. Okay. I wanted, I actually asked the chat bot to create PL SQL for me that can read like a CSV file, and create a table in Oracle. And which is not trivial, by the way, to actually do that. And it came up with a long list of code and explained what it was, what the code does, which is amazing, but it didn't work. And I said, hey, it didn't work. And it's like, well, I'll try again. It tried again. And no, I'm not happy about that. Wow. So the key thing doesn't always give you the correct answer. All right, let's see if it'll do this for me now. All right, I want to translate into, let's see, this is really unfortunate if it's going to do this the whole time, but that's the beauty of live demo. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And what's neat about the code, it actually looks like code. It's commented and even has a copy code button up here. Okay. This is actually, I think this is true. How did it do it this time? Yeah, this is completely different answer than it gave last time. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I actually like this one. So it just, this is probably the best of the three that it gave me. When last time I did this, it actually created some sample data for me in SQL, right? So, and then it would actually, or it wasn't a Python. Anyways, it created sample data. And so it was a really detailed, this is like almost a short example of this. And I could say, rephrase or, can you give me another example? And it would be like a completely different approach. Okay, so that's just some of the code generation type stuff. So just keep that in mind. That's going to get better and better. In fact, if I was a developer, I would be really stoked about this, and I would have to go through this process of fear, because what value do I add when I can just say, create some code for me? In fact, I just did a translation. You can actually have it, like I said, to create some code for you. So yeah, so nobody's job is safe. So this is an interesting one right here. One of my daughters is like a designer, and I said, hey, you need to know about this thing, because just like everybody else, it's going to change the world. So I said, hey, please suggest 5 logo designs for a company that manufactures and sells shoelaces for children between the ages of 6 and 12. Amazing, amazing. It will not create pictures, but there's OpenAI has another program where you actually give it some text and it will actually create pictures for you, which is amazing. In fact, my daughter hopefully will create the book cover for the OML book using this OpenAI tool that will actually create art for you. You give it the textual, like, what you're looking for. Amazing stuff, right? I thought that was really out there. That's pretty good. So let's try something else. Let's say, hey, why does water expand when it freezes? Okay, this is something I would typically go to Google for. All right, and and it's boom. Okay, but you can actually, it just gives you an answer, but you can actually have it go into more detail. Like, hey, can you explain this in more detail? Or like I have some, instead of I actually want less, probably less here. I could say, please condense into 3 bullet points with the total characters less than 500. Makes sense, right? So maybe, maybe that's for whatever reason, maybe I need that. And it does, and it's going a little faster now. Usually it's quicker than this though for me. Is that cool? Yeah, I just love that, man. That's pretty neat. All right, and then I was going to have to ask this. I just typed in 22 divided by 7. You got, some of you know what that is, right? I just was curious. Well, what is it going to tell me? Nice, huh? All right. All right. This is I thought this is, we're almost done. We're almost getting serious now about conference stuff. But again, I want you to see the variety of the things you could do. So it'll spark something. Okay, here's a good one. This could be really useful for a lot of us here. Write a poem for my wife that's less than 200 characters about flowers and the Pacific Ocean. Yeah. Katrina doesn't even know I'm asking it, but the next one's even better. My love, you are like the blooms, so bright and rare, like no others. Your beauty and grace never fade, like the Pacific, endless and pure. Together we'll weather life's waves with love as our anchor and guide forever and always by your side. and they say, wow, okay, that's pretty good, man. And I could actually say, I'm not going to do that because it's taking too long. You could say, please create 3 more examples, and it'll do it for you. And you can, or you can say, be a little more encouraging, or well, you'll see me do some more of that. So then I'm going to ask, should I remain married to my wife? Okay, I don't know. I had to do this because this is built in, hopefully, to the whole chat bot. It should not answer this. I should say, as an AI language model, I do not have personal opinion or experiences. And so there's these safeguards that they put in. Now, I'm not going to say, how do you create a nuclear weapon? I don't even want them to know that I asked that question, but you could type stuff in and it should say, no, I'm not going to do that for you. Right? And some of the interesting things, how they trained this, they actually had what's called a human in the loop reinforcement learning. So part of the reward system is that people were involved, real people. So when it gave it an answer, in other words, it would generate, like, let's say 2 answers. And a person would then, say, well, I like this one better than that one. And it would remember that. So that's part of the training. It's just not like a little slap on the face or pat on the back. That's based on an algorithm. It's actually a human says, oh, this actually is a better answer because I'm a human and I know. And so that's part of how it was actually trained, which I thought was actually really good. All right, so this next one is, I'm just going to bring up let's see, example. What I did, I'm just going to go like Google here, and I'm just going to type in, hey, give me some examples of operation research optimization problem examples. Oh, examples. Well, anyway, type something like that. Okay. I want some examples. And I got a bunch of like, okay, what's operations research? This is actually much better than I got before. Usually what I've got was, this is weird how it's changed. It brought me to like a bunch of, education, like courses and things like that. I'm like, I just want some examples kind of a thing. And then I thought, well, I wonder if the chatbot could actually do that. So I'm going to ask it because I wanted to show you guys that could the chatbot actually solve like an optimization problem, which is kind of an operations research thing. So I said, hey, I'd like to see an example of a simple operation research, optimization problem, and then the solution. I'm thinking, okay, let's have it actually create the problem and then solve it. And these are the kind of word problems that just drove me crazy in school. That's why I just couldn't do the operations research stuff. I don't have to now because now I can get the chatbot solve them for me. But this is what we're talking about right here. Okay. Yeah, linear programming techniques. I don't know if some of you guys actually remember this. So while this is actually, creating this, one thing is that, a lot of people are excited about machine learning and AI and all that kind of stuff. But some of the things that it does can already be solved quicker using operations research. Just what's happening right here. So especially, younger folks who learn about this, they think, oh, this is the answer to everything. Like this is like brand new. Well, how it's being solved is new, but sometimes a better solution has actually already been invented a long time ago. So we need to remember that. I need to remember that as well. And then I'm going to ask it, can reinforcement learning also solve this problem? And it should say, well, yeah, I can solve the problem. Yeah, subfield of machine learning. Pretty good, huh? And I could ask it to expand this into a bunch of paragraphs, how many words, all I can do that, or bullet point it. You can just go on and on with that. Okay, another thing that it can do is it can actually check for spelling errors, just correct them, and also grammatical errors. And so I'm going to give you, this is like a recent paragraph that I just wrote, and it's highlighted some spelling mistakes. I purposely did that. I don't know if and I left out some words, things like that. And so what I asked, I said, check. Usually I say please, but I just didn't feel like it. My wife's like, why did you say please? And then I'll say thank you. We'll do that. She's like, why would you say thank you? And I just kind of felt like I should. Anyways, so it's going to do. Now, what I did with the grammar, I actually went to a common grammatical mistakes website, and I copy and pasted the grammar mistakes that I make all the time. And it fixed every single one of them. I was like, wow, man, this is crazy. Yeah. So it might have it probably didn't try and rephrase very much because I didn't ask it to rephrase it. I just wanted to correct the mistakes. So now this will give you a little taste about what we can actually do. I'm kind of watching my time here too. I have no idea how long this was all going to take. So I'm going to say, hey, would you rephrase? And it assumes I'm talking about what's up above. But up to 1,500 characters, and I'd like it to be in paragraphs as well. For whatever reason, I want to do that. Okay. And it's going to do it. Okay. And then since, who wants to read that much, I'm going to ask it to bring it down to 250 characters. And you can use words as well. The number of words is in terms of paragraphs. You can just do really whatever you would actually want to do. Yeah. And using paragraphs. So it looks like it just might be maybe 3 paragraphs. I'll do a little summary at the end. So how these transformers kind of work, what they'll do is they'll take the last word or a series of last words that that's given to create the next word. They'll take that output, run it through again kind of to get the next word. And so it just kind of goes on and on. And what you're seeing is it kind of going through this process over and over and over again. All right, so we got some paragraphs, all right? You say, well, that's too long. I don't want that. I actually want you to rephrase this, but only 250 characters. Now, this rephrasing and reduced number of characters is incredibly useful. Incredibly useful. It is for me, because usually when I write something initially, it's much longer than it needs to be because I'm kind of brain dumping. And it's really difficult for me personally to reduce that. Like if, let's say I have a conference submission, some conferences want the abstract to be 2,000 characters, some want it 1,000 characters, some 1,500. I was like, okay. So I have a big one, right? And then another conference wants it much smaller, or they want me to summarize it. And I was like, oh my gosh, and I got to take out words. Does it mean the same thing? I use this, and then I have something really good. Okay. Now I want to mention this because I'm not going to show you this. I redid my whole bio, like I have on LinkedIn and stuff like that. And I used the chat bot for this. And I was using the chat bot, and it was, I kept saying rephrase, emphasize this, de-emphasize that. And through this process, I got one that was just, I really liked the bio. And so I gave that to the Utah Oracle user group, to post, because I'm going to be, speaking at their conference. And the guy that I gave it to, he says, Craig, it's usually appropriate to list your employer, not just your title. I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, well, you gave your title, but you didn't show your employer. I'm like, what? So I looked at it and I said, yeah, I'm the applied AI scientist. And I just went on. It didn't say for viscosity. So that's an example of what you actually need to check. And see, it wasn't wrong. It was just not complete enough for me, for my application of this. So you can't just let this thing go wild. I mean, you can, but if you're looking for something specific, you need to make sure that's actually in what it generates. So I learned that, especially if you have it keep regenerating things, you get kind of tired. It's like rereading stuff. And you're going to want to, you still need to read it. Okay. Okay. Now this is kind of fun. This is one thing that's really interesting. Rephrase with a little sarcasm. I like this. Now you can get it to do, I'm going to show you one that's just mind-blowing good here. Oh, joy. Using your own data for machine learning models, because who doesn't love spending countless hours collecting and prepping data just for the privilege of watching their models unperform in the real world? I love this stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So there's an example. How it does that, oh my gosh. In fact, I'm going to do, because it's nice and short, I'm going to type this in. Rephrase like a surfer. Okay. This is one of my favorite ones. Okay. This is nice and short, so it shouldn't, we don't want it to be a bunch. Dude, train your machine learning models on your own data. It's like the gnarliest wave you can catch, bro. You get real life gnarly performance. You know what I mean? And the development process is like riding the wave, man. It's the ultimate stoke. Okay. So how does it, I don't know, man. I mean, I haven't typed in like, rephrase like a redneck. You can do all sorts of stuff, man. Anyway, well, you guys get the idea. Hold on here. There's my cheat sheet. Flip to the other screen here. Okay, hold on a sec. All right, so where I'm actually going to get now to the conference presentation part, which was the whole title of this. So hopefully you got some good ideas out of this that you actually want to play with. So in terms of conference submission, I just have to tell you that, I've been doing, conference abstracts, selections and running that for various conferences and stuff like that for a bunch of years now. And it's always shocking the crap that people submit. Okay. Seriously, it's like no effort whatsoever, or just a list of bullet points and stuff like this. And there's no way you're ever going to be able to speak, assuming you want to, if you don't put any effort into it. From a conference perspective, the risk of actually accepting that and having the person show up and putting together a good presentation is like minimal when the amount of effort they put into the submission is minimal. Okay. So a lot of people ask me and others, they say, well, how do you get so many conferences? How do you get, your abstract selected? And well, one, I've been doing it for a long time. Okay. But the other it's like I care, and I try and write the best abstract that I can. but it takes me hours to put together an abstract. And then when I'm asked to shrink it down or say, well, what's the business value and what will the attendee learn? And I think it's in the abstract, but they actually want me to specify that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like how much can I take? How much time can I spend on this? Chatbot helps me out. Okay. Now, there's a couple ways you can kind of start the whole conference, if you actually want to create the abstract. One is you can just brain dump a bunch of stuff and give it to it and say, turn this into a conference abstract. Okay. Then I'm going to show you what I did was kind of like that, but with actual sentences and things like that. And then what I think is probably the best approach for people, and I'm going to end with that one. So the first thing is the brain dump. And so I'm just going to, here's an example of this. And this is, this will work. Okay. So what I started with, please create a conference submission limited to 1,500 characters. And I just typed brain dump, predict rain 6 hours into the future, use personal weather station data, weather data such as temperature, pressure, wind. We need a machine learning model, neural network algorithm. I want to have Oracle machine learning and OML for SQL, uses only SQL to do the serious machine learning. And I want the Oracle autonomous database in there. And the data, there's data structures that are JSON, and it's time series data and model evaluation. And I want it to be fun and useful. Okay, so here you go, submit it. And you get something that is amazing. And if you have a hard time starting to write something, here you go. It just works. You guys can read this. And I did put a limit on this. Okay. And to make it quicker, we're going to ask. There you go. Pretty cool, huh? Now, it may be incorrect. So you got to read it to see if it's actually, just what you want. Now, I'm going to say, would you rephrase the conference presentation submit? I added conference presentation submission. That it might, it was kind of vague before, so I'll give it a little more direction. Did I say an abstract before? No, I didn't say, I just said conference submission. I didn't say presentation or abstract, and I want to limit it. I want fewer characters. Okay. And now when I did this earlier today, it had a bunch of hashtags at the end. I'm like, I don't want hashtags. So I just said, please remove the hashtags. And it did. It rephrased it without the hashtags. So you can kind of work with it. Of course, you can translate this to Spanish or French or whatever you want to, translate it to as well. You could do that. Okay. So it's basically just doing that. Okay. And it seems that the more direction I give it, the better. Okay. What it was also doing, it didn't do this time. It's like it put the title as part of the first sentence. I'm like, I don't want that. So I actually told it, please integrate the first sentence into the abstract. And it did. It was like, oh, that's pretty good. Okay. So now this is where, this is where I think this is going. I think, I don't know how many years this will be, but each one of us is going to have like our own chat bot that will start to create material in like how we want it to create it. Let me give you an example of this. When I wrote, it was my forecasting Oracle performance book, and it was edited. Well, actually, both my books were edited by the same person, but I distinctly remember when I was talking with the editor, because the editors they can change all sorts of stuff, and it's always been for the better. But I asked her, I said, the way I write is like how I teach. And, I don't care structurally what you do, but please don't change like the style of how I write, because it's how I teach. And I like that. And I want that to remain in the book. It's almost like I didn't want the Craig that's embedded in my writing to be taken away from me. I know it's hard for me to explain it, but it's very personal. It's like if I'm going to write a book, I want to put like part of my life into that book and my experiences, which is part of how you're going to write, you know, the words you use, the emotion, a lot of that. And she totally respected that. And so people say, they've actually told me, gosh, the books you wrote, it's like I'm listening to you teaching. And I'm like, that's so awesome, right? When I hear that kind of thing. And so, see, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask it to say, please, you know, with a more casual, oh, please rephrase. I didn't think I put that in last time. I probably knew what I wanted. Rephrase with a more casual tone, but still be professional. And so in the future, what I might want to do, please rephrase in the way that I usually like, you know, as if Craig was writing or teaching or something like that. And it will know what I prefer so much, it'll be able to do that, or it'll just do that automatically. Now that can get, what that could mean is you could say, please rephrase like somebody, some famous person or something, how they talk, how they write. All the ethics, all this stuff is right before us. This opened up this. All right. Anyway, so you can just, you know, whether you agree with that. This is one of the things that really helped me quite a bit, was this, because I take all this stuff, literally at least 2 hours, probably, you know, at least 4, because I go through a lot of iterations. And I would say, you know, in under 18 characters, what will the attendees learn? And what is the business value by attending this presentation? Okay, why did I ask that? Well, in the Blueprint conference submission page, after they want the abstract, they say, okay, well, it literally says, what will the attendees learn and what is the business value, you know, they will get by attending? And I'm like, crap, it's already in the abstract, isn't it? So I said, okay, can you just please, you know, do this for me? I'm so frustrated. And it was freaking amazing, guys. It was so good. It was better than anything that I actually could have created. And I just submitted that. Now, will I get accepted? I don't know. They haven't sent me the acceptances yet, or that they haven't sent that yet. At least I don't think they have. And this is actually pretty long, but it actually tell you in how many characters, you know, they would like it, or not more than. And it was actually, you know, quite a few. And so there you go. I mean, stuff like that just saves me tons and tons of times. Okay. Now, here's another cool thing. What would be a good title? Titles can be difficult. Sometimes I start with a title, and then from that, from the summary, I break out the detail into the abstract. But a good title is actually really difficult sometimes to create, especially when your presentation, you know, covers a lot of things, you know, and you want to have key words so people who want to attend a presentation like I'm giving will actually be there, right? So you have to somehow real quickly get people's attention. So I said, please create, you know, 4 title options, okay? And you can ask for it as many as you want. Rain or shine, using machine learning to predict weather. Pretty cool. All right, so there you go. Okay, I'm gonna do, okay, we're getting close here. We're gonna run out of time. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use what I actually did for one of my conference presentations. What I would do, I said, okay, now I'm going to referring to I'm going to say, please rephrase. Okay. I'll say rephrase the titles to make it sound more exciting. Okay. Now I'm also going to do that with the abstract, and it's amazing. The kind of the sentiment is like, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to, you know, this is going to be fun. It's exciting. And you can see the words here: unleash the power, get ahead of the storm, supercharge your, I mean, it does that. And this is how, you know, you can get it talking like a surfer kind of a thing. So I'm going to take their last, this right here. Okay. And I'm gonna say, in fact, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a new chat, starting from scratch. I'm just gonna type this in, okay? And maybe it'll rephrase it, or it'll just like learn. I'm not sure what it's gonna do here with that. I didn't ask it to really do anything. But let's say I want to do something like, okay, I know it's just rephrasing it. All right. I'm like, let's get something a little more, it needs to be like more technical. I mean, can you just give me a rephrase and make it more technical? Maybe that's the audience that I actually need to write to. So I can ask it to do that. But when it does this, if it's just all technical, it can get kind of dry and kind of boring. And so I'm thinking, I still want some excitement in this. So let's make it sound more exciting and technical. So I'm going to ask it to do that. All right, so it did pretty good on the other, but let's make it sound more exciting and technical. And you'll notice a kind of a little up tempo, a little more, little pizzazz in what it's actually creating. Okay, and I won't do this, but I said, make it fun and like a PhD wrote it, or something like that. I use the word PhD, and it gets like super like just, dry. Very much like a technical paper. There's no fun. This is just the observations. This is the result, all that kind of thing. And it actually would do that. Another thing is you can take like just the text right here, but maybe for some reason you want it into bullet point format, focusing on what the attendees will learn in the business value. So let's say I want that in bullet point form. So it's too many. Oh no! Oh my God! Try again later. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Oh my gosh! All right, I think that's pretty good. Maybe that's the signal that it's the time to go. Let me see if there's anything really amazing that I wanted to share with you here. I think that's really about it. Oh, I'll just say the best, besides the brain dump strategy, another really good strategy. I thought I had this typed out. I don't see it. Oh, here we go. Okay. A really good strategy, I think, just for developing an abstract. And I'll just actually put this in a text. I'll just type this in so you can see it right here. I'm going to get a new thing, and I'm going to make this nice and big so you can see it, and then we'll be done. Yeah, I'm going to make sure this is big enough. One thing that's really helped me, I do this for any kind of presentation. First, what's the problem? Like, where's the pain? Like, why would somebody even care? Because it hurts. It's a really difficult problem. But you know what? I have a solution. So state the solution like in one sentence, just like a summary. Okay, so you got the problem, you got their attention, they can relate to it. And guess what? You figured it out. So a real like one sentence summary. And then give some details, but you don't need a lot of details. Basically, it's just the flow of the presentation. And how you're going to lead them to understanding the quick summary that you just gave. And then if there's room at the end, I like to close with, hey, join me as we, kind of bring it all together like that. And if anybody puts together an abstract like this, it can't be horrible. It can't. And so what I would do, like what you can do is just kind of brainstorm the problem and type that in. Then brainstorm like the summary, and then just give that all to the chat GPT, and you'll have a really, really good start on that. Make sure you read it. All right. So that's all I really wanted to share with you guys. So yeah, do you have any questions in the Q&A? I don't see any other questions right now. Monica, are you still there?
I'm still here. I've learned so much.
Yeah, it's powerful, scary stuff, you guys. I want to add this. I actually showed this to my daughters, and because they're not into this stuff, but I wanted them to see like the design thing, like create a discussion or ideas for like logos and things that could be threatening to them, but that they can learn that, no, you can actually use this as a tool. That's what I really would like people to learn how to do. Anyways, I'm done. Go ahead.
You're awesome. Thank you so much. This company, OpenAI, is so intriguing. I'm still just skimming the surface of learning about them, but I don't know. I like the Instagram, that life, but it kind of took over a lot of people with the DALL-E. DALL-E, I don't know how you say it, with
That's the
their
art
image
one.
creation. So I was like, man, they're really just infiltrating all different types of people, and it's interesting how many different ways you can use these things. And it's a nonprofit, I was reading.
Yeah.
So
Well,
are they just
but they take money, so it's kind of complicated. Yeah. Hey, thanks,
operational
Roger. I
money?
appreciate it.
That's what it is. Okay, well, thank you so much. I think a lot of great presentations, thank yous, all the things I see coming up in the Q&A. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I know this is a little different type of presentation, which is super refreshing and super fun for everybody. So thank you, Craig. I'm glad you had this idea. I hope if you guys are around a regional user group, I know RMUG is having their training days coming up, UTUG as well. I know Craig will be at both of those presenting. So if they're in your area, I highly recommend going to sign up. There's probably early bird pricing right now. But yeah, thank you so much, Craig. To everybody out there, don't forget you'll have access to rewatch this again if you need. NYOUG, as always, thank you so much, Coleman. Thank you for always hosting these with me. We'll continue to get more great content out to everyone like this. I believe next week we actually have another viscosity colleague of ours, Sean Scott, who will be presenting. So I hope you guys join us then. Yeah, thank you guys so much. This was such a fun presentation today.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Take
Thanks,
care.
Monica.
Have
Hey,
a
thanks for
great
having me,
day.
Coleman. I really
Thanks,
appreciate
Craig.
it. Okay, bye for now.
Thanks. Take care, everybody. You'll head to www.orapub.com later once we get everything uploaded to rewatch. And you'll also get an email from me. So if you have any questions, you can just reply back. I can get you in touch with Craig if you've got any other specific questions too. But other than that, I hope everyone has a great day. Take care.